A stunning dawn over the Northwest Province ahead of the 2024 King Price Race to the Sun. This year the event had gained added lustre as it doubled up as the South African Gravel Championships under the auspices of Cycling South Africa. The Uber Resort in Schoemansville on the banks of the Hartbeespoort Dam was the start point for the 165-kilometre race, which would end at Sun City. The strongest field in the history of the King Price Race to the Sun was gathered. Mountain bikers, roadies, gravellers, all chasing a national champion's jersey in the numerous official racing categories. The notable absentee in the men's field was two-time defending champion Matt Beers, who was campaigning with great success in the USA. This opened the way for any number of top-class racers to become the third national gravel champion, among them Jaden Turlow, Rousseau Becker and Mark Britson.
Yeah, I think we at Honeycomb already. We've got a really strong field in here. We've got 4 riders that potentially have the ability to win this race. I've just been on the bike now for about 3.5 weeks, so yeah, for me it's a bit unknown territory, but it's still, I'm excited. When I was on the start line, I'll definitely give it a go.
I think having some friends will help. Last year it was kind of just game on from the beginning, so it'll be interesting to see with no Matt Beers to rip it apart, to see what the dynamic is.
Super excited. It's going to be really fast to the first water point. Expecting probably around like 38 km an hour average speed till the second water point. So yeah, going to be fighting for position, making sure you at the front in the pinch points, and yeah, going to be a fun day out.
The Ford Ranger led them over the dam wall in the neutral section at high pace. Insect Science's Keegan Bontekoning into a solid rhythm early on, as was Honeycomb's Tristan Norkier, last year's runner-up to Matt Beers in the SA Championships. They were on the hard and fast dirt roads along the Brits Canal irrigation system. In near-perfect weather conditions are set for a hard and fast race. With a total elevation gain of 1,000 metres over 100 miles and no significant climb to use as an attacking launch pad, the race would come down to a tactical battle. A war of attrition fought out at high pace. Sean Nick Bester took early responsibility on the front, Reinhard Janssen van Rensburg on his wheel. The ripple effect of the injection of speed at the front was seen at the back of the lead group as riders fought to stay on the wheel of those ahead of them. It was a ferocious battle early on, with the teams like Honeycomb able to use their superior numbers to put the solo racers under pressure. Norkier again pushing the tempo and assessing the damage. Bester was a man on a mission though.
I saw in the beginning that the guys were reluctant to keep on pushing the pace. So there was a little ditch in the road and I attacked up that little climb.
The tactics are going to play a big role today, but I know we rode the course last week and the course is quite rough.
They said it's the roughest it's ever been, but yeah, I don't complain. Being a mountain biker, the rougher the better. So yeah, but we'll have to see. There's going to be a lot of tactics, so yeah.
Jaco van Dijk, winner of the UCI graded Swartberg 100 recently, was one of the quartet of Honeycomb's big hitters. Eventually, after around 21 kilometres, 2 men managed to forge a gap, Chris Jooster and Sean Nick Bester. A quick chat about the tactics, and then they got to work. Each took a turn on the front to try and prise open a decent-sized gap over the dangerous chase pack. The rough surface evident in the constant moving up and down of the gravel bikes. With road pedigrees, both were happy on the shorter section of tar road. They were building a significant lead, but they had yet to reach the halfway mark, so for now anyway, the chasing pack were not too concerned. Jooster is a canny tactician and the winner of the 2023 Cape Town Cycle Tour. They swung into the halfway point at Rudekoppies Dam in perfect unison. They'd been out front for 56 kilometres. Their lead over the big bunch behind was 4 minutes. That bunch was around 30 strong and contained some serious firepower as they hammered along the rough gravel farm roads. Rainer Skitter of Northwest University was alone 2 minutes behind the leading pair as he came into the water point at halfway. Then followed the rest of the main bunch. Marco Hubert, Mark Britson, Wessel Botha at the sharp end. Sadly for Jooster, his race-winning hopes came crashing down when he fell at the halfway point, a bitter pill for the experienced racer to swallow. This left Sean Nick Bester alone up front.
We worked together quite well until halfway through the race at the feed zone. Unfortunately, when Chris grabbed the bag, the bag went into his wheel and he crashed himself. So from there on, it was a long and lonely road all the way over the King of the Mountain until about 126 k's into the race. And yeah, I tried to keep on pushing. I was hoping to stay in the lead until we hit that tar section, because then I had some hopes of being able to sit in the slip for quite a while still and trying to recover. But yeah, they caught me on one of those tough drags that was quite bumpy and my body was just taking shots.
The women's race set off just after the elite men. Again, the cream of South African road and mountain biking had pitched up to race for the prestigious National Champions jersey, won in 2023 by Charisse Willate. There were around 40 riders, and Willate was just one of numerous contenders in the 2024 race. The top three from last year's race, Sarah Hill, Sam Sanders and Catherine Collane, were in the pack, as was 2022 gravel champion Hayley Preen and young Danielle Stradham.
Yeah, I'm feeling really ready, excited. It's a nice culmination of road riders, gravel riders and mountain bikers. So let's see who's going to come out on top.
So this will be my second race to the sun. The first one I actually did on a mountain bike. So I think being on a gravel bike in itself will just make the whole experience all the more better. It's not a lot of climbing in the race, but it's by no means easier. It's going to be very fast, it's going to be very hard, and yeah, apparently there's a new section towards the end, which will, I think, spice things up a little, which I'm really looking forward to. And yeah, just hoping it warms up soon.
That it certainly did, as the sun beamed down on the fast-charging riders. The rapid rate at which gravel racing has caught on in South Africa was evident in the bikes being ridden. No mountain bikes among the elite racers. Hayley Preen ensuring she was well fueled, a tricky skill at high speed on these roads. Collane had a taste of gravel racing in the States last year in the Lifetime Grand Prix series. Sam Sanders on the front with Lisa Bone as Santon City Cycle Nation behind her. It was the first time on a gravel bike for Stradham, who was Sanders' teammate in the efficient Infinity Insurance team. Then it was the turn of the defending race champion Sarah Hill to go to the front, leading a pack of 10 top women. By the time they reached the halfway point, Collane had a small gap, but she was closely followed by Charisse Willate and the rest of the hard-chasing pack. Lisa Bone just losing a little time as she collected her bottle in the heat of the battle. Back to the men's elite race, and they were closing in on the finish, hammering along the smooth R556 towards Sun City. A group of 10 were together, including 2 from Mbuko Giant, a couple from the Honeycomb Squad, Arno de Toy of Insect Science, Rousseau Beck of Titan Racing, and Lone Raiders, Jans van Rensburg and Jan Vittar. Then, a big attack by Marco Hubert and Mark Pritson saw the pair escape the reduced bunch, and as they worked together initially, they built up a solid, potentially race-winning advantage. Pritson of Honeycomb is a former South African road race champion and winner of the Ride Joburg 947 and Cape Town Cycle Tour. Hubert of Mbuko Giant is a formidable force on the mountain bike. With a second place finish at the Atterquas Extreme this year and the Tankwa Trek, he was also second at the Swartberg 100 gravel race in the Karoo recently. They'd made their move at exactly the right place and did enough work together to ensure that at least one of them would take the win. Waterpoint 5 comes after 153 kilometres of riding. The Bilansberg Mountains will be looming up ahead, as will the finish as you head along the tar road of the R556. In a deviation from previous years, the final few kilometres of the King Price Race to the Sun takes in a gravel road that snakes between the mountains towards Sun City itself.
We got to the final tar section and Marco backed off the back, and I saw him and I jumped onto his wheel, and then when he went, I decided this is the move, and I committed 100%. And also shout out to him. I mean, he also rode at full tempo.
I knew I had to take someone with me because it's just too far to go solo. Yeah, and then it was Mark, and then immediately in my head I was like, don't really want to take him to the line, so just kept riding a hard, steady pace.
Coming into the finish, the top corner here, the last U-turn corner, Marco and I don't know, we just got it wrong. I pulled brakes and my wheel just went out underneath me, so I came short. Marco luckily also had a little bit of an incident, so I got onto the bike and clipped in and managed to take the win.
Yeah, I think they pre-rode the course last weekend, definitely helped him. I could see that he knew the course down to the T, where I was a bit more hesitant and didn't know what to expect. But yeah, still learning this gravel thing. Second race, my tires were way too hard. Almost crashed a million times, but yeah, close race, second. Yeah, hoping a win comes soon.
Yes, it's amazing. It's been coming. It's a long way coming. Last year, this time, it was my first race back after my injury. And 2 weeks ago, won Swartberg. And I'm very happy for Mark. I mean, he deserves it. He's also come from some issues. And then just to pull off the third, I'm super happy. I couldn't ask for more.
A thrilling end to the men's elite race, and not far back the elite women were all together as they approached the drag queen of the mountains. Collane, Sanders, Hill, Stradom, Willate and Breen all in the mix, as was young Tyler Jacobs in the Trek colours. It was freewheel psychology rider Breen who put in a surge at around 100 k's, and she just managed to snatch the Queen of the Mountains bonus ahead of Cherise Willate. One of the casualties of the injection of pace was Collane, who lost contact with the leading bunch. The relentless terrain, perhaps the toughest in the history of the event, was taking a heavy toll on the riders and their bikes. This was a true test of the best, perhaps no big mountains, but the surface certainly made up for that. One by one, the lights started to go out. This left 6 riders up ahead. Sarah Hill looking to defend her race title. Danielle Stradom hunting her first senior national title. Hayley Breen, a former champion, former junior mountain bike champion Tyler Jacobs, Sam Sanders and Cherise Willate. There was quality here. Nothing to separate them as they played a tactical game over the last 20 kilometres. On the new dirt road finish, Stradom used her mountain bike skills and power to open a gap, and she managed to maintain it all the way to the line to take the win by a couple of seconds from the marauding bunch in the dust behind her.
To be honest, I really wasn't sure what was going to happen. This is my first gravel race with a gravel bike. I haven't done a gravel race on a gravel bike yet. They've all been previously on my mountain bike. So I was like, okay, now this is kind of, probably I'll be able to see what it's like. And yeah, it turns out it's quite an advantage having the right bike for the right race.
Hats off to King Price, Race the Sun, Advendurance, and Cycling South Africa. I'm super happy with the result, and what a phenomenal race.
I was hoping to walk away with the title, but I'm still happy with third. It's a very flat race, so it wasn't necessarily the hardest race, even though we're still tired now, but I'm very happy with my results.
Mark Britson took the win in the men's elite race at the King Price Race to the Sun in 4 hours 35 minutes and 52 seconds, just 2 seconds clear of Marco Hubert. Britson's teammate Van Dijk was in third. A good result for Jan Witter in fourth, 11 seconds ahead of Insect Science's Arnaud de Toy. A great mix of roadies, specialists and mountain bikers in the top 10. Far tighter in the top 5 for the women's race. Just 24 seconds between the winner and USA champion Danielle Stradom and 6th place Sarah Hill. The previous 2 champions on the gravel were 2nd and 3rd in Willate and Breen. The King Price Race to the Sun is without doubt a serious competitive race for the top athletes, but for many it's a lot more than that. Throughout the field there were many heroic performances by riders who pushed themselves to and in many cases well beyond their perceived physical and mental limits. One such entrant was top South African triathlete Hannah Newman, who's used to racing for the win, but the 2022 Commonwealth Games competitor and winner of the Auto and General X-Tri in the same year used the Race to the Sun as a major stepping stone towards recovery after suffering life-threatening injuries in an accident.
So it took me quite a while to get back into training. I obviously started basically from square one again after my accident. Started with just walking, went into the pool. The bike was the last thing I got back on. And I started with maybe a 20-minute ride on my mountain bike. And I've just built up slowly week by week. Luckily, I work very closely with my coach, so he's been able to build me up really nicely. I'm still a long way from where I'd hope to be, but it's nice to be able to even enter for an event like this. I didn't think I'd be able to do it so soon. So my body's definitely strong and my mind is stronger, so yeah, I'm ready.
The popularity of the King Price Race to the Sun stems from its accessibility for all types of riders. At the sharp end, roadies and mountain bikers fought for the top placings on their gravel bikes. Further back in the huge field were riders who tackled the 160 kilometres on their mountain bikes. Perhaps a good thing considering how rough the route was in this year's edition. The chance to ride through the stunning farmlands of the region doesn't come around often, So, while still keeping a steady, consistent tempo, they could absorb the beautiful surroundings with like-minded fellow riders, all at their own pace. The second water point at Rudakoppi's Dam was a critical phase in the 100-mile race. It came at the halfway mark, around 49 miles or 78 kilometers. It was a chance to rest and refuel, to take stock of what was done and what remained to be ridden, and to assess the state of their bikes and bodies before tackling the second half, which many said was the tougher of the two.
I'm not used to very long distances, maybe like 20-40 Ks, so made it halfway. And the endurance is starting to turn on now. But the scenery up to here was really, really amazing. You get like this lack of farm view, everyone's in lack of mood. It's so worth it, man. And I mean, the water points. Who needs sweets and stuff? You got water points like that. It's crazy.
What can I do 100 miles without a doubt the pants, eh? I mean, your bum will take a beating for 100 miles, so it has to be the pants.
The one essential item that you can't do 100 miles without is a spare butt.
Can't go without my electrolytes, eh?
I would definitely say at this stage crampies. You need crampies.
There's no ways I'll be able to do this without my husband Chris alongside.
When we speak of Rainbow Nation, please come and experience this. Here we're one family, here we're one community, here we're one nation, here we're one love.
Never a truer word spoken. The King Price Race to the Sun is open to a huge variety of riders. If you're an endurance junkie or just fancy testing your stamina, then the 100-miler is the way to go. But it's a serious challenge, one not to be underestimated, and requires committed training and good preparation. If you're new to the sport or perhaps not yet in the condition to tackle the full distance, then there's the half-distance 50-miler, which starts at the Rudakoppi's Dam and finishes at Sun City. It's an ideal way to get into gravel riding, with not too much climbing and little by way of technically challenging terrain. From the outset, event organisers Faces have built relationships with local residents along the route and have involved the communities through which the event goes wherever possible. Locals act as marshals along the route, guiding the riders through the various turns and tracks. The event has also introduced the sport of cycling to some communities who would previously not have had any knowledge about it as a race and an event. And through the years, some in these communities have become inspired and motivated to take to a bike and perhaps take on the Race to the Sun.
Leina la ka ke nna Victor Mole. Re tswa re le company e bitswang Faces. Yeah, Faces re tlo ira ka Saturday hona le mojago wa dibaesekele. E tswa from Hartbeespoort Dam. O tlo feta through Bojati Nemogwasi. And then o lo finish ka Sun City. As really Faces ke boletse. Then re something ho tsamanyana ho issue batho. Yeah, hore le rona re share le batho. Ha re tse ko any political party. No. Re batho ba di bicycle, ba sports.
With this new initiative that we brought into the Race to the Sun is that we basically give back with socks. There's 3,000 pairs of socks that we give back to the community, and that's just such a beautiful story that we can also use because it's going into the winter season now, and who doesn't need a pair of socks? So for that, and also the employment and also the deployment of all the marshals out there from every single community, we thank you.
Over the entire route, the water points were all stocked with an amazing array of healthy, nutritious and tasty food and drink, as well as having enthusiastic crews helping out as they create a cool vibe, all of which gives the riders a boost as they continue their journey. The major water point sponsors this year were a local company, Magalies Citrus.
Magalies is one of South Africa's largest and oldest citrus fruit juice manufacturers, and we've been around since 1959. So it's our 65th anniversary celebrations this year. So Magalies manufactures about 18 million litres of fruit juice concentrate each year, both for local and export markets. And if you dilute that to single strength juice, you will get to more or less 100 million litres of single strength fruit juice to drink. This year we've hosted 4 water points on the route where we handed out about 20,000 litres of water and about 4,000 bottles of fruit juice. So hopefully everyone that passed the water points had a good time at the fruity and feasty water points, and yeah, we hope to see you guys again next year.
Staging an event of this nature would be very difficult, if not impossible, without a loyal and generous title sponsor. And King Price Insurance, who've been associated with the sport and the race for many years, not only provided umbrella sponsorship, but their executives got to have an in-person experience alongside the riders as they tackle the event as well.
It is such a privilege for us to be part of such a prestigious event. I mean, this is not easy. People train very hard to finish this today. It's an experience. It's a life achievement for many. Blood, sweat and tears that we see here on the finish. So it means a lot for us. It's nice to be able to make this possible for the people out there. We should keep on doing this. Always make sure that your bicycle is insured. If you insure your car with King Price, you can add that bicycle for R1. If the value is right, but we were always going to give you a good premium. Make sure that you don't come out here without proper insurance on that bicycle. The road is difficult, it's hard. We saw many bikes tipping over today with damage on your baby. Make sure it's insured.
Madeleine, if today was a song, what song would it be?
Another one bites the dust.
Was there a lot of dust out there?
Yeah, and sand.
But today's sand was very, very tough, and the sun was not forgiving. It's worth it. I would encourage anyone and everyone to come in and try this. It's a nice day out. It was peaceful. The race was well organized. We had enough guards on the road. We had enough marshals. We had enough rescue guys. The water points were well finished, so it was proper.
I usually say it's a 160-kilometer journey from Hartbeespoort, Schoemansville, all the way through to Beestekraalkerk, and then traveling all the way back to the beautiful host of Sun City Resort. The things that we up this year is we use communities empowerment. We use them as marshals all around the route. There's exceptionally well trained SARSA vehicles, think bike vehicles, and this year Metro from the local governments also just brought it all together.
The dust has settled, the bearings have seized, muscles have cramped, and the sun has now set on Sun City. The 2024 King Price Race to the Sun was everything that we dreamed it was going to be. The SA Gravel Champs titles attracted the best riders from around the country, and boy did we get put on a show. Phenomenal racing right down to the finish line here. Danielle Stradum, Mark Pritson taking the win, leaving with the titles. They've been crowned champions. Everybody who rode that 100 mile, that rode the 50 mile, they've earned their finish medals. It was rugged out there, it was beautiful, and they've earned everything they came here to achieve. Thanks for joining us. It's been spectacular.